All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Detroit Lions in today's video because you guys just ripped your first preseason football game. Now, despite losing 14-3, it's preseason. I was a slippery, sloppy football game. There was a lot of ugly, particularly in the passing department. Nate Sudfeld, not great. But the defense was really intriguing. You guys like Ennis Rakestraw, Terrion Arnold. Ennis Rakestraw specifically had a phenomenal football game. Amik Robertson, new addition from Las Vegas. There's a lot of intrigue for a bunch of different players. Isaiah Williams, Vaki. We're going to run through a bunch of them in today's video. But before we do, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content, along with way too many Lions videos every single week. Guys, this video is sponsored. So thank you to BetUS for sponsoring this video. More on that in just a minute, but let's get right into it. So Colton Pouncey dropped a video on stock up, stock down for the Lions after that first preseason loss. Now, this is, I think it was, The Athletic. It was 3-14. It was a terrible football game. I think everyone just agreed. I wish we saw Hendon Hooker start that game. I mean, if Hendon started the football game yesterday, it would have been so much more enjoyable. But unfortunately, he didn't. And they went with Nate Sudfeld, and he went 13-24 for 96 yards and an interception, averaging only 4 yards per completion. But nonetheless, there were a couple of offensive players that caught my eye. Now, first off, we'll get to the injury report towards the end of this video because the injury to Antoine Green, the concussion to Antoine Green is extremely unfortunate. The injury to Hendon Hooker is also extremely unfortunate. But one guy, despite the Lions throwing for 132 passing yards yesterday, 0 touchdowns too. It's preseason. I'm not trying to rag on Lions. Isaiah Williams. Huge game. Now, you check the stat sheet, it's not crazy. 4 catches, 35 yards, averaging about 9 yards per catch, but he only saw 4 targets. This is huge. This is an undrafted free agent. Once again, the Lions passers like 132 yards passing the football. I mean, it's kind of crazy that a standout can be a wide receiver when you throw for 132 yards. But honestly, man, Isaiah Williams really made a name for himself yesterday, because it's one thing to have a really good camp, especially if you're an undrafted free agent. I mean, you're trying to climb a lot of roster spots, folks. You're trying to do almost everything right. And Isaiah had a really good season at Illinois last year. Extremely underrated season. 82 catches, over 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns, 13 yards per reception. U of I just was not a good football team last year. They went 5-7. I'm not trying to say this out loud because I'm from Illinois, but we've never, I can't remember our last really good quarterback. But anyways, Isaiah Williams had a really good year last year over at Illinois. 4 catches, 34 yards. I mean, he obviously led the team there. Isaiah really showed up. I mean, he made some plays out there, and that was clear. That was clear to see. He did some really good things. He showed up. That's what Dan Campbell said right after the football game. It sounds like Isaiah Williams is about to make this roster, and they're still trying to find this wide receiver 3. Folks, I have a strong feeling it's just going to be Khalif Raymond, because he's been in the league. He's been with Detroit for a couple of seasons now. He's played with Jared Goff. I think it's just the more safe route. And then you have Antoine Green and Isaiah Williams and a couple other guys in your back pocket, but more on that later. All right, guys, before we get back into the video, once again, we're sponsored by BetUS here. Go check out my link down below in the description. They're offering right now 125% on your first 3 deposits, up to $2,000. If you're looking for a new sports book for this upcoming football season, I suggest you check out BetUS. It's the fastest payouts in the industry. Fast, easy deposit, easy withdrawal system. They got 24/7 customer service. Check out my BetUS link down below in the description. But I'm going to go ahead and show you the Detroit Lions Super Bowl odds here, because Detroit Lions are my pick to make the Super Bowl. I actually do think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but that's for another day. We're going to go to football here since the start of the season. We're going to scroll all the way down here. We're going to go to NFL Super Bowl. Take a look here. Detroit Lions plus 1,200. You throw down $100 cash. You could pay rent, if the Lions win the Super Bowl, but maybe not in today's economy. You get the point here. Once again, Easy, fast sign up. They're giving you 125% sign up bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. Check out my link down in the description below. And that's it. I'm just Rakestraw. Phenomenal football game. We talked about this yesterday. So there was a clip. If you guys remember when Brandon, I apologize because I can't play too many preseason highlight clips, because of the NFL. We have to wait for as many Lions games as possible to start, throwing this kind of stuff in it. But Brandon Joseph had an interception yesterday. But what you didn't really see in the highlight was, or you did see it in the highlight, but what kind of went under the radar was the interception, or not the interception, was Ennis Rakestraw is just white on rice. He was white on freaking rice, took the wide receiver completely out of play, and it gave Brandon Joseph the easiest interception in the world. Not literally, but you guys get what I mean. Ennis Rakestraw guarded Malik Neighbors, right? Didn't allow much separation. Malik Neighbors had what? A couple of targets. I actually think he might have had a bunch of targets. I don't think he had a single catch. He also tackled Giants wide receiver Jalen Hyatt on a crosser, didn't allow a yard on the play, fought with him to the sidelines. We saw a little bit of intensity there. Then later in the game, they actually moved him inside to nickel to show off some of this versatility. Very important because you got Meek Robertson slated to start there in the nickel this upcoming season. But we know Emmanuel Mosley, we kind of had our fingers crossed in general. But Emmanuel Mosley, tore his pec on practice earlier this week. So the cornerback depth this year is completely different than years past. I know it's a young group, but I'm telling you, man, these guys are ready to play. Terrion Arnold, Ennis Rakestraw Jr., especially Ennis yesterday, really good night. And then I loved Meek Robertson making a couple of plays, guys. I'm telling you, this is a nitty-gritty football player. You will know his name in the NFC North by the end of this season because he's with Las Vegas last year. Chiefs fans hate him. NFC or AFC West guys hate him. Because I'm telling you, this guy just makes plays. He's a small dude, so he's got intensity. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He just makes football plays. I freaking love his intensity. Then you got Sione Vaki. He had a phenomenal game last night, folks. They ripped Zonovan Knight to start the football game. Hendon Hooker actually led the Detroit Lions in rushing yards yesterday, 4 attempts, 34 yards. More on Hendon later. Vaki, 4 carries, 29 yards, including a 15-yarder, his first rush of the game. 9 yards. Second rush of the game, 15 yards in the first. 7.2 yards per catch. Or rush, sorry. This is funny because Vaki came out of Utah only having 53 offensive plays in college, mainly working as a defensive back, but the Lions saw it right away. So they decided to move him to running back and let him learn on the fly. He's gotten chewed out by a couple of coaches a couple of times. But once again, first carry, 9 yards. Second one, 15. 4 yards, making some stuff out of nothing here. Really intriguing because you have Jahmyr Gibbs, you have David Montgomery, you have Craig Reynolds, and now it looks like Vaki honestly just straight up made the roster. I think he was going to make the roster, especially because of special teams in general, but that solidified his roster spot, in my opinion. And then finally, I wanted to talk about this because we did it in yesterday's video. Unfortunately, I ran out of time. Jake Bates, this is such a big concern for me because Michael Badgley is injured. He's done. So we are thinking that they didn't bring in any kicker competition. And I think the thought here is, let's just put it all on his shoulders and see how he reacts. Practice, this is from Colton. He had Bates going 7 of 12 in New York. During joint practice on Tuesday, he went 6 for 9. So once again, the thought is they're probably putting a lot on his plate to just see how he handles it. First quarter, 53-yarder outside stadium, light rain. I mean, I get that it's preseason. This dude nailed a 53-yarder. They don't trust a dude like Badgley to do that, in my opinion. So that's really freaking huge. Something to keep an eye on heading into your second preseason game. Nate Sudfeld, let's move on. Let's get something else going here. Maurice Norris also didn't have a great game. Hendon Hooker's currently in concussion protocol. Antoine Green's also dealing with a concussion. So some unfortunate injuries, but it is what it is. Real quick, once again, shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this video. Check out my link down below in the subscription to get that started. But folks, I know the 3-14 loss, if you didn't watch the game, it doesn't sound good. But once again, no starters are playing. Or, I guess guys like Terrion played, Meek played. You get the point. no starters really played in this football game. We're just trying to get these young cats an opportunity to make an NFL roster, to make the Detroit Lions roster. They're also fighting for other roster spots potentially if the Lions decide to cut them. So, all things considered, ripping with Nate to start the game. Uneventful offensive game until like the third quarter, but yeah, unfortunately, Hendon went down with an injury. But I loved what I saw from some of these new young defensive backs and a lot of these rookies. So thank guys for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for more. But let me know, who is your favorite player from that game last night? And then who is your least favorite player from that game last night? I have a feeling who everyone's going to say. But thank you for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. Check out BetUS down below. And thank you for watching. We'll see you soon. Peace.